Hi everybody and welcome to the Junkyard Joust leg of the Diecast Wreckfest. I'm Aaron Yonda and we've got 5 teams ready to wreck here in this extra special event. The first part of this event was over at Diecast Dude Racing, links in the description for that. The Kentuckiana Crusher is currently in the lead and we are going to find out who the winner of the Diecast Wreckfest is through the course of 2 Junkyard Jousts. Here are your teams, starting off with Bones Brigade, sponsored by Kenny's Kebab Shop. The Kentuckiana Crushers, sponsored by JB Weld. Kings of the North, sponsored by Bill's Diecast and Hobby Shop. The Michigan Demolitia, sponsored by Treetop Raceway Park. And Red Rum, sponsored by Johnny's Chop Shop. Let's head out into the junkyard and start this joust. Starting us off in round 1, it's going to be number 47, driven by Big Bishop. This joust will go until there are just 3 teams with surviving cars. At the end of each round, any car that is right side up will get 5 points for their team. All 5 teams will continue to joust until there are 3 clear winners in points. Those 3 teams will joust to the death. It'll be a death match. Coming down the hill next, it's number 4, driven by Daddy G. Daddy G collides with Big Bishop and lunges forward, flipping over upside down. No chance to even set that ramp on the back of the car up as it just flips over tragically. Here comes number 16, driven by Big Al for the Crushers. Big Al shears off the number plate on the top of Daddy G's car and sends Daddy G over into the junkyard, reaches a height of 6 on the way over there. Daddy G gets a chance to make a recovery, but loses control and the car goes upside down and out. And that's why it's called Wreckfest. There's going to be some damage with these vehicles. Number 59, driven by Biscuit Brown for the Bones Brigade. Biscuit Brown collides with the cars that were backed up on the track. Nice recovery there by Big Al. Big Al's car flopping onto the grass. Successful recovery. Number 0 for Kings of the North, driven by Blaze. Blaze hurls into the other cars, spinning and turning all over the place. Tires spinning, and Blaze is just about sideways. Definitely not in a great position right there. Blaze is going to take a hit from number 58, driven by Randall Ferocious for the Michigan Demolitia. A very ferocious hit, and Blaze gets toppled over. Randall Ferocious using maybe a little bit too much force there and flips his own car upside down. Biscuit Brown makes it off the track to safety. Next up for Red Rum, number 77, Gray Wizard. Gray Wizard takes a tumble off the back of Big Bishop, who has a little bit of a ramp going on that car. I believe that's a Cadillac Seville. Randall Ferocious makes an amazing recovery on that hit, flipping back over. And Gray Wizard's going to make it out of this alive as well. Kentuckiana Crusher sending down number 9, driven by Willie Makeit. Willie Makeit pries Bishop off of the track and the car almost turns over. Manages to hang on barely. Close call for Brian Bishop. Can he hang on? Number 34, driven by Lone Star for Bones Brigade. A bruising hit from Lone Star on the back of Willie Makeit. Something flies off of one of the cars, a chunk. Kings of the North sending down number 53, driven by Crazy Canuck. Canuck slams into the line. Willie Makeit pushed curbside and definitely prone. A big chunk broke off the front of that wagon, and Brian Bishop finally succumbs to gravity, tips over sideways. Number 69 for the Michigan Demolitia, driven by Dangerous Dawn. A nice hit from Dangerous Dawn, proving very dangerous indeed for Willie Makeit and Crazy Canuck as they are both tossed off the track sideways and upside down. 2 eliminations on that hit, and Demolitia has to be pleased. Red Rum going with number 69, driven by Arlo. Arlo smacks Dangerous Dawn on top of Lone Star. Stable for the moment, and there's a little bit of a ramp on the back of that Arlo car. Next up for the Kentuckiana Crushers, number 84, driven by John Receiver. And the ramp is a success as John Receiver goes catapulting into the air and lands up towards the front of the crates, reaching a 5 on the way there. Really plants that landing and keeps the car in a good position for survival. Up next for the brigade, Sam Hall, driving number 11. A nice hit by Sam Hall, preventing the car from taking that jump, but unfortunately flipping over at the same time and can't quite get the rollover. It looks like that jump is bent now. I don't think it's going to work anymore because of that hit from Sam Hall. A self-elimination, but it might have been a good strategy. Number 78 is next up for Kings of the North, driven by Marcus Firegon. Firegon kicks Arlo right off the track with the no longer functioning jump, and Arlo is trapped between the cars and the crates down at the end. Recovery looks unlikely. Here comes number 21 for the Demolition, driven by Sneaky Bob. The force of the hit from Sneaky Bob knocks the entire car of Marcus Firegon off the track. It goes just about sideways, definitely on the edge right there. Here comes Doc driving number 51. All that metal welded to the front of Doc's car pays off. Sneaky Bob is thrown from the track, still right side up though, and now Doc is curbside and vulnerable. Here comes number 90, driven by Ricky Spanish. Ricky flips Doc up in the air, almost goes over, but it's still near the track, which gives it a chance to survive on the next hit. Next hit provided by number 13 for Bones Brigade, driven by Mr. Dark. And a bit of luck there for Doc as Mr. Dark's hit pops Doc over and off the track, right side up. Good survive. Mr. Dark now locked in. Next up for KOTN, number 40, driven by Goggles Paisano. A big slam from Goggles and Mr. Dark is tossed. Gets forced off the back of Ricky Spanish's car and gets flipped over upside down. Ricky hangs on. Number 24 now, driven by Flyin' McBrien. Flyin' McBrien proves true to his name, the car flying all over the place, landing upside down in the morass of cars down there. The number 90 plate breaks off of Ricky Spanish and lands over by the height meter. Some nice damage on that hit. Unfortunately, Flyin' McBrien eliminated. Number 26, driven by DJ. DJ slaps Goggles Paisano's car over, and it makes a nice recovery, completely turning over. Lucky landing for Goggles. Here comes number 3, driven by WD-40. A nice hit. The cars are rocked on the track, but nobody eliminated. All the cars staying on, at least for the moment. We've got 2 cars left in the round. Here comes number 20, driven by Lucas. Lucas hits the line, and oh boy, that's a bit of a belly flop right there. Lucas hits the back of WD-40 and can't keep it under control and goes straight into elimination land. Final car of the round, driven by Mad Mike. It's number 55. Mad Mike hits the line, does a nice job of loosening the cars up, but no eliminations on that hit. 26 does a nice spin and keeps it alive. Looks like we're gonna lose about 10 cars in this round. We're gonna have to take a measurement on one of them. If it's beyond 45 degrees, it will be counted out. And it looks like the car is just beyond the 45-degree angle, so that is gonna be 11 eliminations in this round. These 11 cars were all sideways or upside down. Michigan Demolition and Red Rum each lost 2 vehicles. Kings of the North and Bones Brigade each lost 3. Kentuckiana Crushers coming out of this round fairly unscathed, only 1 car lost. No changes on the scoreboard yet. Kentuckiana shoots up to 71 points. The other teams are definitely going to want to focus on Kentuckiana Crushers and try to take out those cars. Big Al manhandling Evil Weevil, the track buffer, and settling down back at the bottom of the hill. Doc piles into Big Al and pushes Big Al all the way up to the front of the track. Big Al handling it though, going curbside right at the end, but then settling back in. Randall Ferocious with a fairly tame hit, all things considered. Big Al gets pushed up and Doc starts to go under. Biscuit Brown gets a nice undercut. Randall Ferocious tossed high into the air, reaching a height of 6 on the way up to the crates, where he lands upside down and potentially out of this match, and that would be a loss for the Demolition. Mad Mike slips onto the back of Biscuit Brown. Then there's a bit of a car sandwich, and Doc gets the worst of it, ending up on his roof. Big Al somehow keeping it together and pulling away from the track right side up. WD-40 tries to finish off Mad Mike, but Mad Mike makes a nice spinning leap to a recovery, and W, unfortunately, does not. Flips over. Self-elimination, you hate to see it. Speaking of self-elimination, Grey Wizard gets a bad bounce and then can't make a landing. The front and back of Biscuit Brown's car are wreaking havoc on these cars right now, and we have a lot of eliminations. Sneaky Bob takes a big shot at Biscuit Brown, and look at the recovery over into the tires. Biscuit Brown going over and then back and landing it. Wow, what a recovery for that vehicle, staying out of the tires and staying in the match. That little bit of ramp on the back of Sneaky Bob's car stops Lone Star from doing any damage. Lone Star tries to get off the track to safety, nearly gets all the way but can't quite get off completely. Goggles Paisano thumps Sneaky Bob all the way down to the front, avoids any shenanigans on the back of the car, and they are relatively locked in. Ricky Spanish tightens up the line. We got 3 cars lined up. I bet it won't last long. DJ violently rams Spanish off the track. The car flips over. Done. That's going to be another loss for the Kentuckiana Crushers. They are finally getting their comeuppance in this match. Dangerous Dawn proving dangerous once again with a double takedown. DJ and Goggles both taken out on that hit. And Red Rum is in big trouble right here. Doesn't look like any of their cars are currently right side up. They need a miracle. John Receiver drives straight into Dangerous Dawn. Dangerous Dawn taking it like a champ, going up into the safety area and landing it upright. That was the final car of round 2. Looks like we are going to have 7 eliminations. We're going to take 1 measurement here. It looks like a close call for number 37 on Bones Brigade, but it is just below 45 degrees. That's going to be a survive. So these will be your 7 eliminations. Let's take a look at the aftermath. Red Rum is out. All 3 of their cars eliminated in that round. Michigan Demolition lost 1. They're down to 2. Kings of the North is down to 1. Bones Brigade did not lose a car, and the Crushers lost 2. Taking a look at the points totals, there are 3 clear leaders, but if one of these teams gets eliminated and Kings of the North stays alive long enough, they could actually get enough points to go on to the death match. We're smashing our way straight into round 3 with the Bones Brigade starting us off this time. Lone Star, the randomized running order is up. Big Al following up Lone Star and pushing Lone Star curbside into a position that could definitely lead to trouble. And it does lead to trouble, but not for Lone Star, for Big Al. Sneaky Bob knocks number 16 bumper over Tea Kettle sideways and probably out of the match. Mad Mike goes hurtling off the back of Big Bob all over the place. The car just flying around and lands in an upside down heap over in the corner. And unless another car comes down and miraculously knocks that car upright, the Kings of the North might just be done. Ooh, a little friendly fire there from Biscuit Brown, squeezing Lone Star off the track, and Lone Star can't quite make the recovery. It was close, but now Biscuit Brown has a hook under Sneaky Bob. John Receiver finishes the Bob. Sneaky Bob thrown over and upside down. Might not matter at this point. These 3 teams are probably going on to the death match, but at least right now they get to have a little extra fun. Dangerous Dawn pushes into the pile, and Biscuit Brown forced off the track. That was the final car of round 3. 4 eliminations in the round. The key elimination, of course, Mad Mike for Kings of the North. They have no cars left. They can't score any more points. That means we have our top 3-point scorers. Kentuckiana Crushers, Michigan Demolition, and the Bones Brigade get the top 3 spots and move on to the death match. Which is happening when? Well, right now, of course, round 1. Let's get it started. Sam Hall starts us off for the Bones Brigade. All the cars return to the junkyard. This is a last man standing situation. The last team with a vehicle remaining is the winner of the Wreckfest. Sneaky Bob rams Sam Hall up into the front, tries to get that ramp set up, but goes curbside, and I'm not sure it's going to work out. Guess we'll see when the next car comes down. It's Big Al for Kentuckiana, and Big Al somehow slams Sam Hall sideways up at the front. A little chain reaction right there. Unfortunate for Sam Hall, but we got a pile starting down at the end here. Biscuit Brown proving deadly yet again. Chunks of car flying everywhere. Big Al makes an incredible spin to a recovery, almost a pirouette, but it's a car. Sneaky Bob gets turned out sideways. Big Bishop takes a shot at Biscuit Brown, but Biscuit Brown is too wily and manages to get that car just about off the track to safety. Not quite all the way. Willie Make It boots Big Bishop off the track, and Big Bishop can't handle the heat, flips over sideways, and done. Ooh, Lone Star to the rescue. Sam Hall turned from sideways to upright after that bounce from Lone Star. Bones Brigade showing some great teamwork right now. Randall Ferocious slams into Lone Star and turns sideways. More chunks of car flying all over the place. These cars are starting to do some serious damage to each other. WD-40 careens into Lone Star and takes Lone Star out, knocking it way over into the fence. Also takes itself out in the process. Kentuckiana and Michigan both gonna lose a car on that hit. Mr. Dark heaves into Lone Star, and Lone Star gets pushed off sideways. There's nowhere to go. Lone Star cannot make a recovery. Flying McBrien hits the track, does not do any flying this time, gives a little height to Mr. Dark, who handles it nicely, ends up on top of Sam Hall. Ricky Spanish causes a commotion for the Crushers, and Mr. Dark falls over upside down. Not a great chance of recovery in that position, but it's still possible. Lucas for the Brigade tries to take out Ricky Spanish, but Ricky makes a nice landing and keeps it in line for the Crushers. Dangerous Dawn with another elimination. This one sends Lucas way up into the air to a level 5 before Lucas spins down out of control and upside down. Dangerous Dawn proving dominant for the Michigan Demolition. John Receiver pushes Dawn down to the end of the track. No eliminations on that hit. Flying McBrien goes up a little, but manages to survive it. 7 eliminations in round 1 of this fight to the death. And once again, the Kentuckiana Crushers have a great first round. Only 1 elimination. Michigan Demolition and Bones Brigade each lose 3. But this fight is until there's only 1 team remaining. And we've got some tough cars on these teams. Here comes round 2. It's time to fight. Big Al starting us off for the Crushers. Shoving Evil Weevil aside and taking his place at about halfway down the track. Ooh, a big hit by Flying McBrien, who makes a recovery after several spins, and something broke off right there. Looks like it was probably off of Big Al's car. Whatever it was a big chunk. Hopefully he didn't need it. Biscuit Brown going head to head with Big Al, and Biscuit Brown gets the upper hand. Big Al tossed off sideways. Another devastating hit from Biscuit Brown for the Bones Brigade. Biscuit Brown all the way at the bottom of the hill, and John Receiver says get up to the front. Both cars ending up with a rather large space between them. Dangerous Dawn tries to compact that space. Biscuit Brown ending up in front of the safety bar, and now we've got 2 cars locked in. Sam Hall pushes Dawn up in the back of John Receiver. Dawn refuses to get off the track, getting hung up on the back of John Receiver's vehicle. And via a chain reaction, Willie Make It takes down Dangerous Dawn. Dawn pushed over the edge sideways, and Willie Make It goes sideways on that hit. Still a chance of recovery, though, if you're on the track. Ricky Spanish pushes Willie Make It sideways farther down the track, and that is already the end of round 2. 3 eliminations. The fighting was fierce. Those 3 eliminations are going to take us down to just 5 cars in this death match. Taking a look at the aftermath with the elimination of Dangerous Dawn, Michigan Demolition down to just 1. The Kentuckiana Crushers losing half their crew, and Bones Brigade losing 1, tied now at 2 each. Here we go, round 3. Kentuckiana takes to the hill first with number 90, Ricky Spanish. This has turned into a tight match. Bones Brigade and Michigan Demolitia doing a great job of bringing Kentuckiana down to their level. The ever-deadly Biscuit Brown claims another victim. A massive impact there, tossing Ricky Spanish up to a level 6 in his car before it flops down, upside down, and out of the competition. Ooh, Biscuit Brown was left curbside on that last run, and Flying McBrien takes full advantage of it. Michigan Demolitia, their only remaining car, and they just took down one of the Bones Brigade. That was definitely a car they needed to take out to stay in this match, and they did it. Flying McBrien cleared the track, and now John Receiver has a problem. Direct impact with that safety bar can often lead to deadly consequences. Ooh, a massive rebound, and John Receiver does a great job of tumbling to a recovery way back down the track. Without that recovery, Kentuckiana would have been eliminated, and now Sam Hall has to do the same thing. Sam Hall hits the rail head on and does not have the same luck that John Receiver did, bouncing and skidding back down the track and landing sideways. And that is gonna be the end of the Bones Brigade. They fought their way to this point valiantly, but this is the end of the road. Third place for the Bones Brigade, 3 eliminations on the round, and that is gonna pit Michigan Demolitia versus Kentuckiana Crushers, 1 car apiece. It's time for round 4. This is for all the beans. Flying McBrien starting off for the Michigan Demolitia. Michigan up first, determined by a random roll of the dice. And now John Receiver is going to take a shot at Flying McBrien. Got to be careful here, though. A big hit from Receiver, and wow, look at that. John Receiver's car takes a shot to its number plate. That number 84 getting ripped off the top of the car by Flying McBrien, who flies all over the place and takes John Receiver with him on the way down. Wow, a devastating hit, and it takes both cars out, but you know what? There's no such thing as a tie in this death match. We'll line them up and we'll go again. This time the fates have decided John Receiver will start us off for the Crushers. Receiver zooms down to the end of the track. Track buffer getting up on the hood. And a nice slam there by Flying McBrien, but it does nothing except knock Evil Weevil off the track. Both of these cars staying locked in tight. Nobody moving. We're gonna do it again, but this time with a little more speed. Let's get those engines pumping, gentlemen. Flying McBrien starting us off for the Demolitia. If we don't get an elimination in this round, we will increase the speeds even further. Flying McBrien bounces back from all that speed to the bottom of the hill. John Receiver bangs into Flying McBrien. They both go hurtling down the track, but look at the grace, the agility, both cars remaining steady and nobody flipping over. We're gonna take this up another notch. The speeds will increase even further. And if this doesn't get an elimination, we will go no holds barred, no track buffer. Whew, look at that hit from John Receiver, and John Receiver almost gets thrown off the track just from the speed of his own impact. Flying McBrien flies down to the end of the track, goes up, smashes into the crates, bounces, and flips over. And I can't quite see what happened to John Receiver. It looked like he might have survived that hit. John Receiver thrown into the wall, but kept it steady, stayed alive, and won this match for the Kentuckiana Crushers. An amazing try by Flying McBrien, but it didn't pan out. Michigan Demolitia will get second place in this event. John Receiver and the Kentuckiana Crushers will claim ultimate victory in the Diecast Wreckfest after a brutal showdown. Thanks to everybody who participated in this competition. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. There's Junkyard Jousting every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. This has been Aaron Yonda. Thanks for joining me here at the Junkyard Joust. We'll see you next week for more jousting.